That's the biggest thing, is happiness and adherence over everything. We don't suffer our way to thriving. In the world of how to design a program, people should go, well, what do I want? What are my goals? What really is sustainable for me right now?
The reality is that you can do anything literally you put your mind to. You were told that when you were 5 years old, and the same thing holds true if you're 65.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to CEO Talks. I'm Nathan Mansfield, the CEO and founder of Strong Physiquez. If you haven't checked out any of our old episodes, make sure you go click over on the side and watch some of the old episodes. We talk about diet, nutrition, mindset, our products, all kinds of things. We kind of just bring a wealth of knowledge to you on this channel. But also, listen in today. We've got some really good things going on with a good friend of mine. I'm interviewing Jared Hamilton. Actually, it's not even really an interview. It's just more of a conversational piece, somewhat talking about diet and fitness, but more about the mindset and the sustainability of health and fitness long term. So lean in, listen up, and I hope you get a lot of good content out of this. So let's kick it off, Jared.
Well, thanks again for doing this, bro. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course, dude. Y'all don't know that Jared and I have been playing on this thing for like 4 months, and just things keep happening, and we haven't made it happen yet. But I told him this week. I texted him, I think on Sunday, or I think it was like I woke up at like 4 a.m. and for some reason Jared crossed my mind. I was like, I'm texting him. You probably got that text super early. And I was like, dude, let's make this shit happen.
It's probably because I was thinking of you too. That's usually when that shit happens, is like, I'll think of someone and then it's just like, then I get a message from them.
Yeah, law of attraction, awesome, man. Yeah, dude, this is awesome. So dude, I'm super excited to chat with you today, because you've just got a wealth of knowledge in the health fitness industry, which is the same profession that I'm in. So, you know, and I'm an entrepreneur in that space as well. So I'm super excited to collaborate with you. And for my viewers on my side, to educate them, because I think there's just so much. I look at you as like the debunk guy of what seems to be like common knowledge that it's not, right? You just lay everything out so simple. You know, simplicity is complexity is the enemy of execution.
Yep.
You just seem to simplify everything to like gee whiz knowledge for the basic consumer. To help them out, and do that, which is huge, man. Because you know, so many people try to, like, you start talking about macronutrients, micronutrients, all that stuff, and people get like, you know, like brain's gonna explode, especially if you're talking to like a normal trainer. So,
right,
I'm excited to dive into some questions about that stuff as well with you.
I'm super excited, man. I love it that so much. Like right now, this is so off script. Like I just hate rich like scripts and like the whole, like everything has to be perfect. Like, I got an idea of like what I want to talk about, and you have an idea of what you want to talk about. And then we're just two buddies just chilling, talking. And that's where the best stuff comes out. So.
Absolutely. And I think that we're going to bring some tremendous value to people, I hope, you know, to listen in, and if not, maybe just some good entertainment. So
yeah, no, absolutely. No. So before we get into this, what are some stuff like, cause I know my viewers may not know a whole lot about you. So give a little bit of a background on you, but like what you're working on right now that you're most excited about.
Okay. So 2-minute synopsis on me. I was born and raised in small town Kansas, joined the military at 19, served active duty for 12 years in Air Force Special Warfare. So just a quick, you know, the job is called TACP or JTAC is what we do. Essentially what we do is we go out with combat units, Army, Navy. We can attach to SEALs, we can attach to Delta CAG, we can attach to any of those guys. We're the eyes on the battlefield, looking for the enemy, but also the guys that drop bombs. We call in the airstrikes from the ground. So really cool job. It was something I really aspired to do. Once I was in for a couple of years that it was a thing, I trained immediately for that, to be accepted in that. I went through the training down at Herbert Field, Florida. And then I served in that job for 8 years. I'm still actually doing that, but in the National Guard out of Seattle. So it's just a part-time thing for me. The entrepreneur world kind of took over. I had a point where I started business while I was active duty. So I was full-time active duty while running full-time brick and mortar business. And I had employees that were helping me out with that. But I told myself, as soon as my income replaces my military pay through my business, that's when it's going to be time for me to kind of say goodbye while I did love what I do, or I do love what I do in the military, I just have more of a passion for fitness, entrepreneurship, and just, dude, I love running business. It's a huge passion of mine. In fact, I now have five businesses, and all of them
That's awesome.
I equally love. Some of them are in fitness, some are in other things, but just the journey and the process of being an entrepreneur is just something that I'm so passionate about. I'm also a husband, father of 3 boys, so household of boys.
There we go.
And yeah, man, that's a pretty good synopsis. I'm here at San Antonio, Texas. I've got an incredible staff. I'm here at the SP headquarters. Incredible staff of people that are on a movement with me to change 1 million lives, helping people become the best version of them. I also have a coaching business, Nathan and Matt, where we're helping coach people to peak performance, just to be their best. People that are struggling, pull them out of those things, but really just taking average, ordinary people to be good and to be great, right? So that's just kind of my life mission. It's all my businesses encompass that motto, that motive is just taking people to be exceptional or much better than they are right now. I don't believe in people just living average, nor do I surround myself with average people. I want people around me that want to be better than they were yesterday. And those are the kinds of people that I aim to help in all of my businesses. So that's I don't know.
I love that, man.
4-minute synopsis maybe.
That's awesome.
Of me.
Well, and I love that. And that, it's interesting. You touched on something that I wanted to ask you about is you and I both talk a lot to our audiences about the concept of chasing your potential and the ultimate version of you, and just not settling for mediocre and things like that. But a lot of people, like, I'm finding, don't know what that means. Like, if you go to like your normal person that says, hey, think about the ultimate version of you, or what does your potential look like? And they go, what? Like a lot of people I'm finding don't even know what that means. So it's like chasing a target they don't even understand. So especially to audiences like yours and mine, how would you go about talking about that? Like, how would you explain what chasing the ultimate version of you looks like?
I think that's something I've found to be very difficult with a lot of people, because I think we kind of all know that there's a part of humanity, there's a part of society that are always chasing to be something more. And there's a lot of people, I call it 90-10 or 95-5. There's just a good part of people that are okay just living average lives. And I'm not sure that there's ever going to be, I think Jim Rohn said it best, is that, when you find those people, sometimes it's better just to not ask the right question, or ask the questions. But, there's a large part of me that's curious. Like, what makes people just want to be average? What makes people just want to work a dead-end job and not strive for anything more? But I think that the thing that I do that I think works very well is I try to dig in to find what the underlying passion is. I think a lot of people just don't understand what their passion, what their purpose is. And until they do that, they're never going to head the right direction. But it's also bigger than that. And it's bigger than just finding your passion, because if I just walk up to someone on the street and say, hey, what's your passion? Some people, like you said, some people are going to say it's this. Some people are going to be like, I have no clue. There's a lot of people in this world just say, like, they could be 35 and they're like, I don't know what I have no clue what I want to do with my life. And that's always been a nut that I've had a hard time cracking. Like, but I always just ask, I think that always trying to relate them to something bigger than themselves. Something, a lot of times I believe in our 20s, we grow up very selfish. It's like, what can I do for me? But as soon as we hit that mid 20s to 30s, it's like, what can I do for other people? And I think that a lot of people go through that. But I think it's eventually just turning the dial of making people understand that when they have a cause and a purpose that's bigger than themselves and for other people, they switch that flip, that they flip that switch, they actually get a lot more enjoyment out of life. So I don't know if I answered your question directly, but I think the biggest thing is,
I love that. Yeah.
You've got to get people to understand a higher purpose other than like, I want to be a manager at a retail store, right? Okay. No, what's bigger for you? And you got to get people inspired.
That reminds me a lot of, I think it was Simon Sinek that talked about, I think it's kind of clickbait anymore. And a lot of people take it a little bit to a point that that almost is not what it was originally intended, but the whole kind of start with why content. But Simon Sinek talks about it like you hear that a lot. Like, it's always like, what's your why? What's your why? What's your why? And I don't think a lot of people actually understand what that means, but Simon talks about the 7 layers I think it's the 7 layers of why.
Yes.
And I've taken that concept of the 7 layers of why, even in like my coaching business, and most everyone ends up crying, where it's like, let's say their goal is to lose 40 pounds. Like, okay, well, why do you want to lose 40 pounds? Well, I just think I'd be more confident. Like, okay, well, why is being confident important to you? Oh, well, I just don't show up in my life the way I want to. Well, showing up important to you? Oh, I've never thought about it like that. And then it usually ends about 4 more layers deep, and it gets really emotional, and it's awesome.
Dude, I freaking love that. I love that so much because you know this, dude. You're so involved in this space, and you get all the surface level questions. This is the mentality I also try to bring to my business, to our clients and customers, right? Is that people always say, and I love how you phrase this too, and I know you get this so much, like, I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, why? What does that mean to you? But then I love that you just kept diving in layer after layer, because eventually you get to the root, right? And the thing is, like, the average person doesn't know the root. They've never been asked those questions. They just know that if they look 20 pounds, they think that aesthetic will make them feel confident.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's funny is almost every one of those, though, and here's the thing, and this is a deep rooted belief I have that I believe is correct. It all ends up being, it's just going to make them happy. Like, at the end of the day, like, it all comes down to it equates to happiness. But then the question is, why do you want to be happy? And they go, like, it's like, well, and it always ends. Now it starts talking about what it's costing them. This is just a pattern that I've seen. Like, you dive it deep down, and it comes down to just basic, I want to be happy. But then it's like, okay, well, why is being happy important to you? And then usually people make a 90-degree turn and start talking about what not being happy is costing them. Like, life is short. Like, I want to be happier, man. I've got another 50 years of my life, and I don't want to live it suffering. And then now we're getting really deep, where we're talking about, like, not suffering. And that's where it gets powerful, because now this is so far beyond, I want to lose 40 pounds. Not that that's bad, but, like, let's talk about behavior, and let's talk about, like, some deep level shit. And now we're going to actually change somebody.
Dude, this is freaking genius. And I love it, because nobody goes there. And you being a trainer in that space, you know, Ed Mylett says, don't be in the business, don't be of the business, or don't be in the business, be of the business, right? Or be above the business. Right. I think he says something like that. Dude, like, that's the whole thing with fitness, right? The fitness is not about losing 20 pounds. It's not about learning how to work out. It's not about what you eat. It's all determining the why. That's the only way. I think it's the statistic is like 90% of people that lose more than 100 pounds end up gaining it back. Yeah. Right? Why? Because they didn't have anything deep enough connected to that weight loss. It wasn't a lifetime journey for them. It was just I want to feel better in the moment. They committed to something, but as soon as they had that first soda, as soon as they had that first candy bar, everything's gone, right? Because that connection wasn't deep enough. They didn't fully understand the root that you just talked about. So the fact that you're actually doing that.
No, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing.
It's so important.
I love it, man. Well, it's interesting. Tony Robbins talks about it. I'm in the middle of, actually, I'm reading it because you made the suggestion. The book I'm in the middle of right now is Unleashing the Giant Within. Yes. That's my current read right now. Cause I saw it was on one of your suggested reading lists. So I bought it, and I'm loving it. Tony talks about, and I've been talking about this in my coaching a lot, is the concept of the thing that makes us all drive the same is the fact that we all avoid pain and pursue happiness. Correct. But so many people's problems is they have that framed wrong in their head. It's like, and here's an example I like to give is drugs. Let's talk about heroin. I've never done drugs because I know what I see drugs, and I just see so much pain. My life is gone. My money's gone. My happiness is gone. My everything. If I see drugs, I just see copious amounts of pain. But I also know some people who they see drugs, and all they see is happiness, right? That's their escape. That's their pleasure. But it's the same thing. So why is it I view drugs as pain and they view drugs as happiness and pleasure? it's all because of how we frame it. And so many people in the fitness and fat loss space, they see the short-term pain and that's all they see. And they don't see the long-term pleasure of their life being better. Or they have, or it's, you flip it on its end, and it's those people that are able to go and be unreasonably disciplined and just amazing at accomplishing their goals is because they're like, yeah, this sucks, but there's pleasure on the other side, so I can embrace the short-term pain. And I think most people, that's where they get off, is that they don't have the proper view of pain and pleasure.
No, that is like, and I love that from Tony Robbins, because that is the most simple way to put life. Everything we do is to either gain pleasure or avoid pain, right? That's it. Like, you can literally look at every single thing you do in your life. It's for one of those reasons. And that's so true. I like how you related that to fitness, because I mean, it just literally answers all the questions. It literally, it makes it so easy.
I think there should be this join between like the fitness, fat loss, and the psychology piece to all of this. And that's where people have the disconnect, is because so many people struggle with that, like, is the psychology of the whole game.
Yeah. And I think that's just a commonality of life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think
just look at our off-camera conversation.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's all of us have these problems, right? It's not beyond anybody to have these problems, but I think it is the number one. It is 100% fact the number one reason that holds people back in anything they do. It's all about the psychology, and I think it's important that, you know, people like you and I that are, you know, leaders that are outspoken in our platforms, that we just continue to educate people on this, about the things, not only our own vulnerabilities and the things that we've learned, because you and I, I'm sure, have taken our hard falls by having bad psychology, but also continuing to spread the message on how to get better from it. And I think that's the thing about fitness too, man. It's just, it's not, I was on a call with my Nathan and Matt coaching group the other day, and the guy said he was and dude, I'm sure you hear this all the time. He said, I'm 260 and I don't know how to work out. I don't know what to do. I said, in 2020, if you can't figure out how to work out and what to do, there's a big problem. Do you know how many millions of workout videos are on YouTube? You don't even have to hire a trainer these days. You can get everything you want for free.
Right.
In fact, it's the biggest excuse in the world to say you don't know what to do, because the resources are abundantly around you. You can't drive two blocks without seeing a gym where there are personal trainers there. You can't go on social media without saying something about a fitness trainer or whatever. There's an abundance. The problem is your psychology. You don't have a deep enough purpose, right? It's why people don't lose weight. It's why people don't change.
Well, I think part of that also is a level of ownership, because if you don't know, in our heads, we say we're not held liable. It's like if someone if a cop pulls you over going 45 and a 30, you go, officer, I didn't know, because we say that because we're hoping they'll go, oh, they didn't know, so they shouldn't be held liable. So if you're ignorant to what's going on, like the whole ignorance is bliss thing, like, oh, I don't know how to work out, so now that makes it okay for me and I'm not held liable for my actions now, versus it's one of my company's core values is unreasonable levels of responsibility and ownership, is because it's ours now. You know, if it's yours, it's your responsibility, and you have to take ownership of that. And now you can change. But if someone goes, oh, I didn't know, then in their heads, they're not held liable for their action.
Right. It's easier just to have negligence and say, I didn't know, than to actually have ownership and say, well, I did know, or I could have figured it out. Right. I didn't have, if you just had the awareness. Yeah, it's so true. I want to ask you a couple questions regarding fitness, and then we'll just jump back. I think we're just kind of volley this thing all over the place.
Yeah, I love it, man.
So what's your number? This is a generic question, right? For people that want to become more healthy, lose weight, accomplish their goals, what are like one or two things that you would tell them that are extremely important to know and to realize?
Sustainability over every fucking thing. If you can, I don't care how optimal something is. That's what all the gurus say, right? They're like, well, optimally speaking, well, you got to do whatever. We're not a lab or a rat in a lab. We are normal people, normal lives that don't encompass fit. There's parts of our lives that don't encompass fitness. You have a wife and three kids. You're going to have birthday cake, bro. Hate to break it to you, but you're probably going to have some birthday cake at some point in your life. So your ketogenic diet's probably going to fail you at some point. Like at the end of the day, if what we're doing, if you have to honestly ask yourself, could I follow these principles for the next 10 to 20 years? If the answer is no, then you're a ticking time bomb to quitting. That's why, like, when people follow extremism diets and fads and like they hop on a keto diet, or they, train 7 days a week, or they say, I'm never eating sugar, drinking alcohol again. Like, no, you're not. That's in the day that you go back, you break the one promise to yourself because what you're doing isn't sustainable. It's all going to unravel. So that's the biggest thing is happiness and adherence over everything. Because you can't also be suffering. We don't suffer our way to thriving. And I say that to a lot of people and they go, I never thought about it. Like, most people do this fitness and diet thing and they suffer. There's a difference between discipline and suffering. And most people hate their lives to such an extreme and then think they're going to get to their goal and be able to light switch and change and feel good. Like, it doesn't work like that.
No.
You know what I mean?
Man, I love that. You're so quick off the tongue, and you have the right answers, dude. It's crazy. You and I think so much alike. It's really cool. Let me ask you another question. This you've probably dealt with this a lot too, but this is a little more challenging. How do you help people that have eating disorders and have ruined their relationship with food?
We have to. It all goes back to a belief system, and we have to untie that belief system. That belief system is like a knot, and it's fucking tight. And you can't just squeeze if you got a rope that's got a hellacious knot in it, you can't just squeeze it tighter and expect it's going to get worse. You got to untie that knot. One of Tony Robbins in that book, Awakening the Giant Within, or Unleashing the Power Within. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He talks about the belief systems like a table, like we have whatever our belief system is. That, let's say that, I'm guilty. I feel guilty if I eat sugar, whatever your belief system is. Then, because our minds just go to work proving us right. That's the sole point of the way our brains operate. It's like, oh, this is what they believe. Let's find reasons to validate it. So if your belief system is that table, now your mind goes to work and find reasons to validate it. Now you have legs under that table. Now you're screwing in those table legs. Now you're making it super solid. Now you're putting stuff on top of the table. Now you've got a really fucked up belief system that's not serving you. But we've all had these moments where we had a belief system and someone put the smallest amount of doubt in our heads and it unraveled the whole thing. Whatever, like, it's probably something you grew up thinking. But before you can have a new belief system, you have to throw out the old belief system. But you have to unscrew that and unravel it, but then also very tactically implement the new belief system and then find reasons to validate it and that back up it. But then one of the things that Tony said in his book that just like opened my eyes so much to changing belief systems is we have to now associate astronomical amounts of pain with the old belief system and astronomical amounts of pleasure with the new belief system. Because so many people, again, goes back to that view of pain and pleasure. They keep their framework of it wrong. Like let's say terrible food relationships where you just feel guilty and anxious and bad around certain foods. Mm-hmm. The belief system and the pain pleasure you feel with that is not serving you. We got to flip that on its end and put pain with that, and how that, not just that in that moment, but long-term, because long-term you can't have eating disorders for the rest of your life. You can't thrive and have a happy relationship with your kids and your wife and your family being all fucked up around food. So you have to change the way you view your pain and pleasure with all of this around what you're trying to change. But it all starts with changing your belief system, implementing a new belief system, and then doing the hard part, putting the actions in play that are different, that go against the old belief system.
Right. So let's dissect this a little bit. So let's say I have someone that says carbs make me bloated and fat. That's their belief system. So go ahead.
I've actually got one of my girls right now. She's scared shitless of candy. Literally, the thought of having candy, because sugar is bad in her head. And she had a really terrible coach before we started working together that put all these terrible belief systems in her head around carbs store fat, insulin's bad, all these things. So for what I did with her is I literally sat there on the phone with her for an hour and a half and broke down scientifically everything from a logical basis. She's like, well, sugar stores fat. And I'm like, okay, well, why does sugar store fat? Okay, actually, here's why sugar doesn't store fat. well, insulin this. Oh, actually, no, that's not the case. Energy balance dictates fat stores, not just insulin, because we have to have insulin to live. So protein elicits insulin and all this stuff. And I basically broke down the data where she goes, oh, that makes sense. So I'm backing up her emotional response with logic and data. But then, for example, once we really get into this, actions have to change. So for example, one thing I'm having her do is part of her program now is she goes to the gas station every day and gets her favorite candy bar and make it work in her calories. And what's happening is she's eating her candy bar every day and losing weight. And she goes, oh my gosh. So it all connected. She's like, this makes so much sense now, because in our heads, we see one thing. It's like, I know better, like the whole knowing doing gap. Like I know what to do. I just don't do it. Well, because there's a conscious, subconscious belief system that they aren't aligned. We have to make them aligned, and your body tells your mind what to think, right? Ed talks about that a lot. And so, which means we kind of have to sometimes force our bodies. In this case, she's scared of sugar. Well, I'm like, well, look, we're going to make you not scared of sugar anymore. And again, I explained it to her, had it all laid out. And now she's going to the gas station every day, getting her Reese cup. And now she's not feeling guilty. I'm like, there's a win right there. Forget the fact that she's not even seen progress yet, but the fact that now she can enjoy candy without guilt and anxiety. Now we celebrate that, because rewarded behavior is repeated behavior. And now the scale's starting to drop. And now she doesn't feel anxious and stressed around food. And now, and again, now we have momentum going the right way this time. And that's kind of how I go about handling that.
Dude, who has ever told you you're not intelligent? Because that's like the biggest crock of bullshit I've ever heard, dude. You have to be helping changing so many lives just the way you articulate yourself in this. Because I'll be honest, dude, I've been around a lot of trainers. I've had a lot of trainers. And I've trained people, and I've never heard anybody articulate and change belief systems and patterns like you have. It's just like you have a gift, and you need to make sure you're really using that, because I'm sure you are, dude, because like I've never heard anybody break it down like that. Ever.
Really? I appreciate
never.
That, man.
That's fucking crazy, dude. Like just your ability to articulate and then change, help change people's patterns. Like that's the coolest story I've heard in a good while. Like that you actually
really?
made her eat candy. Dude, that's so cool, because nobody else would do that
man.
shit. That's really cool, man. Another question for you is like, what's your belief on people that are trying to get fit, both men and women? Let's say specifically women. What's your belief on how they should work out, or do you dictate that?
Say that how they work out?
Yeah. Is there? Do you suggest a certain way to work out? What's your thoughts on like the type of exercise to get the best results the quickest?
Sure. So a lot of this is I take a step back and I sound like a politician, because I go, it's contextual. Everything is contextual.
Absolutely.
That's why the context is everything, and everything is predicated on who I'm talking to, right? This is why I'm not even a fan of people are like, well, men and women should train different. Like I take that even further. It's like, no, people should train different. Like I could have literally two identical twins, but those two identical twins have different goals, different structures, different whatever, which means they need different programs. But if I had to, if I had to create like a checklist for someone to follow in terms of like how to structure a strength training program, I would say everything is based off your goals and not other people's.
Yes.
So for example, if you could give two shits about how much you can squat, then you probably shouldn't be like barbell squatting if you give two shits about it, but everything is predicated on the goal someone's working with and what's going on. Because again, it goes back to my two biggest principles: adherence and happiness. If you can't sustain it forever, you probably shouldn't be doing it, or at least have it set up where you have a set of principles where it can be sustainable. Like for example, if someone loves CrossFit, obviously you can't train CrossFit 7 days a week for the next 10 years. So you should have an idea of how to load that properly, where you could do that for the next 10 years to make sure you're not hurting your body. But in the world of how to structure it, I think where people go wrong is they're trying to mitigate time with extra stuff. Like people are training too hard, too fast, too much stuff, and they're trying to mitigate time. So I would ask this: when someone's trying to think of how to work out, I want them to take time away. Forget the time piece. Assume it's going to take you a year, no matter what. You can't cheat code that. And they go, oh, it's like my favorite analogy ever is, Nathan, if a doctor came to you and said, hey, I can make your baby come out in 3 months if I give it the right shot, you wouldn't do it.
No.
Would you?
No.
Why?
Because I think there's a substantial risk there, for one.
Ex- right. Because we know it's proven. We know you cannot separate 9 months from pregnancy.
No.
There's no way to it just goes, even if a doctor said, no, look, here's all the data. I can literally make this fetus grow into a 9-month pregnancy in 3 months. Everyone's like, no, it's just part of the game. 9 months goes with pregnancy. It's the same thing, but people say 30 pounds in 30 days with this certain workout program, and it's take my money now, So I think where people run into problems with designing programs and just this game as a whole is they're trying to cheat code around time, but we can't mitigate that at all. But so that's why when it comes to how to design a program, everything's based on that person's goals. Everything's based around that person's structure. As in, like, if someone's like, everyone says, oh, ask to grass on squats, you got to go all the way down. But let's say your active range of motion stops around 90. Well, then you probably should not go ask to grass because you're going to hurt yourself. Everything should be slow, controlled. Everything should be feel good. Your body has this natural way of biofeedback where it tells you what it liked and didn't like. And we should listen to that. A lot of people have this around exercise, this improper belief that like we just work through pain. Like, no, pain's bad. Like we shouldn't be working through like agonizing back pain and things like that. So as long as
they're aware of the right kind, what type of pain we're talking about, right? Just because it hurts when you're working out, your muscles are starting to become fatigued and they hurt. That no, you can push through that. But if we're talking about joints, spine, lumbar, okay, now let's slow down.
Yeah, like, it feels like someone's stabbing a knife in my knee. Like, okay, that's bad. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is they have these old ways of thinking where either that or they have to, like, everybody should have chest day, back day, leg day, arm day, where it's like, well, are your goals centered around that? Or are you listening to what, Chad that works at GNC said, like it's that same kind of thing but I think that's really where people go wrong is in the world of how to design a program. People should go, well, what do I want? What are my goals? What really is sustainable for me right now? Not like, no, Becky at work said, like, you know what I mean?
Dude, I love that you have such a sustainability. Like that seems to be your structure, your backbone is it's not about the short game. It's not about right now. It's not about the next 30 days. What do you want to do in the next year? Because, this day and age, 2020, everybody wants results fast, right? We're also programmed to just want things right now. And like, I think that's really cool that you preach that to your clients too, because, I think you take the stance on it. Hey, if you think you're going to come into my business, you're going to come work with me and get results in 30 days, go away. Because I don't want that kind of client. I think 100%. That's the approach you take because it's not about that, man. We all want the quick fixes, of course. If we could all expedite our results and everything we do it. But also it's like what goes up fast comes down fast. That's my whole methodology in life, right? It's like if the tower is built in 30 days, the tower could come down in a day, right? If the Roman Empire wasn't built in a day or whatever that quote is. Yeah, but man. It's so important that you do that you have that sustainability piece in that, because that's people got to hear that, man.
That's all it is. Well, here's the thing is along those lines, even a little bit deeper. If if you're going to get to a point in your physique where you're like, bam, I would bang me, like, let's go. But if you want to keep that forever, like it logically makes sense. You're going to have to do what got you there forever. It's like this a super common question I get is people are like, Jared, I lost the weight. How do I keep it off? Or like, and it's like, well, what'd you do that got it? Well, I ate 1,200 calories and did 3 hours of cardio a day. I'm like, well, are you prepared to do that every day for the rest of your life? Well, no, I couldn't. Well, we got to pick a better way to do this. Part of human behavior isn't doing something astronomically unsustainable. Then once we get what we want, we go to sustainability. Like, that's not how human behavior works. That's not how habits work. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you quit going to work, your boss will quit paying you. Right.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes. When people say, oh, I did Weight Watchers, and then as soon as I quit counting points, I gained all my weight back. I'm like, well, no shit. Like you quit doing what got you there. So the question becomes, what are you prepared to do forever? And chances are it's not a diet with a name. Chances are it's not something that Chad at GNC told you. Chances are it's not some astronomical workout program that leaves you in astronomical amounts of pain where you're crawling out of the gym every day. It's a lot lower key stuff, but you could sustain it forever. And that's really what it's about. If someone wants to have results that last forever, if you want results that last for 8 weeks, like, we can have a different conversation, but that's not how I do business.
Yeah, we eat tilapia and broccoli for every meal, and you're going to be miserable and hate your life, and then you're going to gain all the weight back. There's
and then your kids just go, "Daddy never had cake with me." Like,
right.
It's a bigger deal.
Yeah, it is. It's a much bigger deal. There's a business about 6 doors down here, and you probably know the owner of it, that they preach 20 pounds in 30 days. And what they do is they just starve people. It
disgusts me.
And I'll leave the details out of it, but they, are they effective at losing weight really fast? Of course. But then what they do, they get you on a system where you keep coming back and paying, every month, because you gain, you lose, you gain, you lose. And now they got you locked in a financial, thing.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so huge. I love your philosophy. It is. I just had a question. What was it? I don't know if you got something. I completely forgot where I was going with that.
No, you're good. One of the things I would like you to touch on is because one of the things I love how your level of deep thinking around psychology, human behavior, but you say it in such a way that's super easy to understand, and it's super like I can instantly go, I can apply this now. Because again, without any of this stuff, without application is worthless. Like I love Dr. Joe Dispenza to death, but when I read his book, I need to take a nap because I'm like, it's so whatever. But you talk about some of the stuff and I go, holy shit, that makes so much sense. But I want to hear what you have to say on the concept of like so many people are delaying their happiness until they have what they want. Like I'll be happy when I lose the weight. I mean, you could take this even further. I'll be happy when I make the money, when I get the car, when I have a AP on my wrist. But like we can't do that. And how would you go about explaining that to someone that's like, no, once I lose the weight, I'm going to be happy. Once I get to the destination, I'll be happy. Whereas that's really detrimental.
Dude, this is a great question. And I love it. So a couple things. Happiness is not conditional. So happiness is not conditional. There are things that can make you, well, you can take happiness can be conditional. Like I can get in a new relationship where I'm really in love with a woman and I can be happy for, some time, right? Is it going to last forever? But the deeper answer is fulfillment, right? Happiness comes and goes. Sure. We can have happy days. We can have non-happy days. But the context of your question is like, we've got to be in happiness. We ought to be out for happiness in the long game. Just like with your fitness approach, right? We have to understand also that we gotta learn how to be happy when we don't have it all. And that's just part of the conditional thing. It's like, you can't just be relying on things to come in your life, or when I achieve this amount of success, or I have this monetary thing, or whatever, that now I'm happy. Or when I have a wife and 3 kids, I'll be happy. We just can't live off the conditions. So many people just need to learn that in this moment right here, right now, in this present moment, I have the choice to choose happiness. I can choose to suffer. I can choose to feel in pain. I can choose to hate my life. I can make the choice, man. What people don't understand is they have a choice. They have the choice to be, and you have to start taking a different approach on how you're looking at life. You have to look at it from a different perspective. And many people, this is an ingrained story, just like we talked about before we jumped on record, before we start hitting record, is that many of those things are predicated on the story that we're telling ourselves, that if I have this, then I'll be happy. That's a story, right? It's a story that we've conditioned ourselves to believe. But when you start stripping all the conditions, like in my body, like it also has to do with gratitude. People that are chasing so much happiness based upon material things, or materials on a whole, like relationships, different things, are really not focusing on what they're grateful for in the moment. They're sacrificing the things that are already in their life. Because you and I both, and the other 12 billion people on this earth, can look at something in our life right now and say, man, I'm really happy for that. Yeah. Maybe it's just the fact that I woke up today. When I do a gratitude exercise every day, I do one big thing, one small thing. Tony Robbins preaches this too. It's not about just being happy. We're grateful for our family, for our car, for our house, all that stuff, the big things. It's also, I'm grateful that I woke up and I got legs today. I'm grateful that I stepped outside and the wind blew on my face and it felt really good. I'm grateful that I stepped outside and the sun was beaming down and I felt that heat, that energy, and it made me feel really good. So you got to be able to you got to be able to be grateful for things, and not just grateful for the things that you want, but grateful for the things that you already have. Because let's face it, in America, 90% of the population's richer than the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
At less than 30K a year, you're richer than almost everybody else in the world. So there's a lot that we sacrifice here based upon societal conditions, or we don't fully take advantage of or fully appreciate. But moral of the story, man, is happiness is not conditional. We've got to learn to be happy with who we are. I think once we really truly find ourselves and we stand, in my journey, dude, when I learned to stand on my own 2 feet, and I started making decisions that I was proud of, and I started really accomplishing things, I started to gain a lot of happiness. When I really found myself, and I fell in love with myself, and I fell in love with the process of life, I fell in love with the process of entrepreneurship, I fell in love with the process of being better every day, dude, I have no choice but to be happy.
Yeah.
It's a process, man. Gary Vee talks about this all the time. It's like, you just got to fall in love with the process. Whatever you get when you get there, financial reward, best body, doesn't matter. It's going to be cool for a moment, and then you're going to say, what's next, right?
Yeah.
But when you fall in love with the process,
absolutely,
you fall in love with the things you got to do every day. For me, I take a cold shower at 4:00 every morning. Do I fucking hate it? Absolutely. But do I love the process that I know for a fact when I step my ass in that shower, and then I go meditate, and then I go read, and then I go work out, that I'm going to be a better person every day? Yes. Yeah. Do I find pride in that? Yes. So that's my philosophy, man. We all have a choice.
I think that's a huge thing. I think a lot of people don't think it's a choice, but then I feel like also, I did a whole podcast on this. People think happiness is a place you get to, but it's a project you work on every single day. As in, like, I compare it to like you're brushing your fucking teeth. You don't get to a place. You don't ever get to a place where you get to good oral health and you can quit brushing your teeth.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's a journey.
Your oral health is a project that requires effort every single day. Even when, like, theoretically, like, if you're good right now, you could get away with not brushing your teeth for like 2 more days, technically. And then like you wouldn't build cavities like that. But like, but if you keep that going, then all of a sudden you got some issues. But I think people forget that the concept of being happy is a project that requires attention every day, and that requires that choice to be happy every single day, and requires the effort on staying disciplined every single day. And they think it's a place they get to, then they can be lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's why everybody wants to get rich quick, or the get fit quick, right? Because they think, I can just get there and then I can just cruise, right?
Yeah.
I want to win the lottery. There was a poll that went out that said, what's the number one dream or wish for Americans? And guess what it was? To win the lottery.
Yeah.
Because they think that just having a substantial amount of money that they didn't have to work for is going to solve all the problems. Mm-hmm. But they think that I just got to get there, then I'll be good. No, for one, you won't respect the money when you got there because you didn't earn it. But for two, you're going to blow it all, and you're not going to be happy when you're broke again in 6 months.
Yeah. Well, and even along those lines is, if you cannot, Kyle Cease talks about it a lot. If you can't be happy broke, you're not going to be happy rich. If you can't love yourself when you're fat, you won't love yourself when you're fit. Like, so many people, we see it all the time, do this with every other area outside of fitness. They get rich, and they're like, wow, I'm still depressed. We see some of the world's most successful people kill themselves for these exact reasons, because they literally hit the height of fame, fortune, contribution, literally everything. But they're like, I'm still not happy. And unfortunately, some of them take their lives. But like, it's so much of, you have to, as cheesy as it sounds, enjoy the journey, embrace the process. And here's an analogy that one of my good friends told me. I can't take credit for this one. And it hit home ever since, along the lines of the journey of this. Have you ever, let me ask you, Nathan, have you ever gone to dinner with your wife, but you guys may have had some normal, bickering, whatever, on the way to dinner, mm-hmm. and it kind of tainted the evening? You ever had that happen?
Of course.
But you didn't just get to the restaurant after you guys kind of argue the whole way there, and then you got to dinner. You didn't just snap out of it, did you?
No.
It left a flavor on the evening.
It
right?
did. Yes.
This is why happiness and adherence are my foundations for everything in fitness that I teach people. Is if you are suffering your journey, you're going to get to your destination. It's not going to taste very good at all. Just like arguing with your spouse the whole way to dinner will taint the evening. We don't just get, it doesn't matter. You won't just snap out of it.
It doesn't matter if you got filet mignon in a bottle of whatever your favorite drink there. You're still going to be tainted in the experience. But dude, I love that analogy. That's great. You're full of analogies, man. It's cool because it just brings home everything. It makes people understand it.
And now I'm like that. It's my one superpower. My one superpower is analogies and simplicity. But if I had to pick one, I think that's a pretty okay one to have.
But when dealing with people, man, those are some big superpowers. How can I make people understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of people in this space don't know how to articulate their words. They might have tons of knowledge up here. There's people in the fitness space that have way more knowledge than you. I'm sure you're very knowledgeable, but they don't know how to articulate it to get the average person to understand it, right?
Sure.
Plus, they don't have the influence, and that's something that you're obviously very well at.
I appreciate that.
This is good, man.
I love this.
I love the fact that we're two fitness guys, both running fitness businesses. And this conversation is not necessarily about fitness. Mm-mm. Because we understand the bigger picture. We understand how to help people at a different level. Dude, I love this. This is so good. I hope that a ton of people watch this on both of our platforms, because this is stuff that people need to hear, man. It's so important.
I agree completely.
What else? You got any other questions for me, brother?
I did. So here's one thing I really wanted to ask you, because this can be applied for a lot of stuff. One characteristic that just there's a lot of amazing characteristics about you, but one that it just exudes from you, whether you feel like this or not, is just like astronomical levels of confidence. Not like an arrogant, cocky, like whatever. It is like, if I had to say just humble confidence, it like exudes from you, in my opinion. How does someone build confidence? Because like, that's a big reason why a lot of people do this. They're like, I want to lose weight because I want to feel sexy in the bedroom. I want to show up in my sales job, and I'm just not confident, even if their physique is irrelevant to the conversation. But how does somebody develop confidence like you have?
Jared, you're asking me all the right questions. I'm like, I got a delivery guy here, man. Might have to cut this on the podcast. 1 second. Dude, my whole staff's out doing a workout right now. They're doing a workout at 1:30, so add some humor in there. No,
that's awesome.
Luckily, you're asking me all the right questions, because I'm not sure I have all the answers all the time, but you're asking me stuff I know about. And confidence is one thing I do know, because it's one thing I didn't have for a majority of my life. I grew up, my natural frame was 140 pounds. When I believed that your physique was, the way you looked and carried yourself was all confidence was, right? So I grew up believing that if I looked different, if I was bigger, if I was taller, if I had more muscle, I would be more confident, because when I was 8 years old, I was getting picked on because I was the smallest kid in the class, right? I was just a tiny kid at 8 years old. Even when I graduated high school, I was 5'7", 5'6", 140 pounds. Like I quit playing football because I was getting smashed, man. I just couldn't gain weight. I ate, I lifted, whatever. I couldn't gain weight. But, those things in my childhood made me associate that size, stature, all those things are what builds confidence. So what did I do? I joined the military at 19. I started taking a bunch of supplements. I started lifting weight. I started gaining some muscle, and I gained a little bit of confidence, right? I'm like, ooh, I'm not going to get picked on now. And that was my mantra for a while. I'm going to get big enough to where people look at me, they don't want to pick on me. But what I found was, as I gained a ton of muscle, I got all the way up to 250 pounds at one time, is that inside, did I feel different when I walk into a room because I had muscle? Did people see me differently? Did I stand out? Yes. But was I actually confident? No. And what I realized when I finally sat down and listened enough to people that were smarter than me, and I did a lot of introspection on myself, is that it's not how we look that creates confidence. And I feel like in this space that you and I are in, is people go, if I just lose 30 pounds and I got this waist and I got, this stature, that I'm going to be so confident with myself. But people need to know that is so far from the truth. Confidence does not come from the way you look. It does not come from your physical stature or any of that. What I learned is, as soon as I started committing to something and following through, is when I gained confidence. There's people that don't have a lot of muscle and got, look at Steve Jobs, dude. Was he confident? Did he look like a fucking superhero? Was he big and like, was his body great? There's plenty of people that exude a ton of confidence that don't have the body, right?
Yeah.
So that's
Absolutely.
living proof. It's breaking down the belief systems, right? That it's not all about how you look that creates confidence. But what I started doing is when I started committing to personal development 3 to 4 years ago, I mean, really committing. And I started really just keeping the promises to myself. When I told myself I was going to do something, I did it. And I just built those, those little layers of confidence, or those little layers of keeping my promises. Over time, those things stack. And now, because confidence to me is all about trust in yourself. If you have a best friend, and let's say every Friday you and your best friend meet for lunch, okay? And all of a sudden your best friend's like, hey, I'll be there at noon, and they don't show up. And they don't call you. You're like, well, shit, where's Johnny? And Johnny calls you after and he goes, so sorry, dude. Something came up. I'll be there next week. And Friday rolls around and you go to the same restaurant and Johnny doesn't show up. And the third time and the fourth time. What's your confidence in Johnny right now? That he's a good, loyal friend?
Terrible.
You don't have confidence in Johnny anymore because he's broken trust. He's lied to you. He's let you down. So when we let ourselves down, hey, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week this week, and we don't show up. Hey, I'm going to start Monday. Okay, Monday. I'm going to eat right, and I'm going to the gym on Monday. And you wake up, you snooze your alarm clock 12 times, and you go to work. And then Monday night, you feel like shit because you didn't go to the gym, right? You didn't follow through. And then now your confidence is just packing it down to the ground. And before you know it, you got nothing left.
Right.
But the way we build that back up is we just got to make some small promises to ourselves and follow through. Small promises, follow through. Bigger promise, follow through. And it's so beyond what people think it is, especially in you and I space, man. Everybody thinks that it's the body. People think that I carry myself with confidence because of my physique. It has nothing to do with my physique, dude. Nothing. It's all about that I trust myself. I know when I put my mind to something, I'm going to do it. I know that right now I go to the gym 6 to 7 days a week, and I've done that for 6 years straight.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact I'm going to follow through on that because that's my belief system. But that's my take on it.
No, I love that, dude. That's such an important thing and such a very eloquent way to put it. Because what's interesting is you can't tying it really to this fitness stuff. You can't rush that. Can you mitigate the time on that? If you keep promises to yourself, let's say you keep like 7 promises to yourself for like 3 days. Like you can't mitigate the time on it.
No, you're not a different person after 3 days. It's a process, right? You can't speed it up. It's just like if in a relationship, if one spouse cheats, it's like if they don't cheat for 3 days, all of a sudden all the trust is back, right? No, because guess what? We've all broken our own promises. You and I, everybody else, right? So if that's a habitual thing, it's a process, dude. It takes time. It takes time. But the reality is, people just need to understand that the confidence comes from keeping the promises we make to ourselves. It's from trusting ourselves. It's not from the way we look. It's not from the way anything else. It's not anything else. It's as simple as that.
No, I love that, man. Man, it's been straight fire on this call today. Holy shit.
I haven't had this energetic a call ever, I don't think, man. This is great. Our energies are just like bouncing off each other, man. This is good.
I love it, man. I love it.
Well, I've got to get on with the day. But dude, this has been so good. In fact, I'm just going to tell you, we're going to do another one of these. Just because I enjoyed this so much.
No, I'm 100%.
You can't fit enough into an hour when, you have two guys that are just so passionate about what we do. So, man, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your intelligence.
Appreciate you, bro.
You're so smart in what you do, and you've got a way that's just so unique about helping people that I truly appreciate. And I know that the people that, pay you money to give them a service really feel about the value out of that. because the other part of that is you're giving away so much knowledge for free. I mean, you're pounding your Instagram page. If you're not following this dude on Instagram, you want to give him like, for my listeners, please give me your Instagram handle so that they can go follow you.
Yeah, it's at real Jared Hamilton, Jared, just not the fake one, the real one. So
same.
Yeah, so my listeners as well. Because if you're not following, go ahead.
Yeah, so same for me, at real Nathan Mansfield. You can find me there. Also the CEO of Strong Physiquez. If you're, we do high-end nutrition and apparel products. So if you're looking for any of that, please stop by, swing by.
Yeah,
we've got that's kind of just like the baseline of what we do, but the core of what we believe in is what's really important. And the core values we have that we stand for it's even more important than the products we sell. So, dude,
love that, man.
Let's do this again.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, bro. Thank you again for doing this, man. It means a ton.